Okay, just like vamp for a little bit because I forgot to do the outline.
Like
vampire, like I'm in blood, like that. Like that.
Do pretend you're a vampire and see how that goes for you.
I'll do the same thing. I don't know.
Ready? And go. Hello, and welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculously excited grown-ups.
Just only for yourself.
Whatever gets her there.
I just walked myself into that one. It was like a 3, 2, 1 go. It was the producer and the TV host.
All right, Hannah, you got this. Okay, go.
Yeah,
you didn't need to say it. Podcasts have producers too.
Okay. I'm Hannah. and these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hey, Hannah. Hey, Ben.
Hello.
It's the Silly Friday edition of WayTooBroad. Can you already tell? Did I even have to say it?
Wow. It's been so long since we've had a Silly Friday.
It has been a while.
It's been a while.
We've been doing, Tired Tuesday.
Or, Wicked Wednesday.
And Thinky Thursdays.
Oh. We don't really like to do Morbid Mondays.
Yeah, it's too early.
Yeah.
Fuck Mondays, y'all.
Yeah. Wow, I've never heard anyone say that before.
Yeah.
I just hate Mondays. Do you guys feel me?
Wow.
I hate
Have
Tuesdays.
have you ever related to that feeling?
Tuesday, I have to agree with you, Hannah. Not so much, obviously, currently, but, in the work world, Tuesdays really do suck real bad.
They're the worst.
Yeah, they're landlocked. No sweet dreams of the weekend, and a long time to the weekend.
If you're in that Monday to Friday grind, Tuesdays are the worst, I believe.
Yeah. Why in the hell is your mic shaking?
I can't.
Please explain it now.
I can't tell you yet.
You can't? Oh, no.
Are you having a small earthquake?
No.
Okay. It's really shaking. I can't imagine this is an improvement. All right. I'm excited to find out. When do we get to find out? During your obsession?
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
I just don't understand why your mic would be shaking. What could you, I'm okay, maybe
I think she has a new mic stand.
No.
Okay.
I think that she is excited about, she's obsessed with how her mic is shaking.
Do you have a waterbed? Is your obsession you have a new waterbed and you put it in the office specifically to, put your desk on while you're recording?
No.
Okay. All right, what are we drinking? Who's first this week?
Ben. What are you drinking,
No, I
Ben?
need you to be first. I can't wait another moment to find out why you're what you're obsessed with. How what you're obsessed with is related
it's shaking so much.
to your microphone situation getting worse. If your mic were shaking and suddenly it's stable, I'm like, okay, she got a desk upgrade. Okay, sorry, Ben.
Ben, what are you drinking?
I have icing water.
Oh.
Nice.
With icing in it.
Yep, I like that. Ooh, it's squeaking. That was good.
Good
And then I
ASMR.
have a little bit of apple cider.
You've been a cider boy.
It's fall, baby. Gotta have cider, even though it's 70 degrees here.
Wow, it's been so fucking cold here. And listen,
I wish.
I know that when I say that, neither of you believe me because one year I was like, Hannah, it's gonna be cold in North Carolina, and it was lows of 50. Okay. But it has been it was lows in the 20s and 30s, highs in the 40s. I mean, it's been properly cold here. What I consider to be properly cold, okay? Living in the South on purpose.
It was cold.
Sorry, how cold has it been? What was the temperature you said?
Lows in
70.
in the 20s and 30s. Highs in the 40s. That's cold for here in November.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That is pretty cold for November.
For November! remember.
Although apparently Kylie told me she was, I think it was when she was coming home from work the other day, and it was like 18 degrees or something. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's been real cold this week.
That's like definitely
Damn.
cold for November, even for Massachusetts.
It's been properly cold a couple days this week. Yeah.
proper cold.
Proper cold. But it's not, you're not that far off from me, you know, and at other points in time. Anyway, welcome to the weather podcast. Erin, what are you drinking? No, I'm me.
No. Oh, good.
Me.
I can't be last. I mean, I am last. You can't be last.
I'm drinking a fresh seltzer, which should be
Nice.
well, you know, I don't know.
I think it needs time. It needs time.
You think I should
Let's
do a
hear it.
second?
Yeah. I think that amount of time is not. I feel like it's most bubbly, like if it had been closed for like an hour.
Well, it's been closer. I'm just gonna do it.
Ooh.
Wow.
That wasn't
might be
bad.
the best one yet.
All right. That was pretty dang good.
And it's the return of our favorite segment, Spindrift Corner.
Oh, yes.
Spindrift Corner.
That's a good flavor.
I got, the half tea, half lemon, like the Arnold Palmer
Yeah,
type
I like
deal.
that.
It is nice.
It is nice.
Nice drink sounds all around from us. Well, so far. Let's see if Erin has any nice drink sounds.
Yeah, I don't. I have a black cherry seltzer in Molly's Yeti Colster because I have an update. I have completely lost my Yeti Colster. It's
my
been
goodness.
lost. It's been missing. It's been MIA for like a month. I have no idea where it is. I have an idea where it could be. I think
is it
I
at your
might have left
vacation
it.
spot?
Yeah, well, not the original. I think I left it at a vacation spot
Oh.
along with a pot. I realized today too, one of my nice kitchen pots. Anyway, I basically
Wow.
like took a bunch of nice things that I liked on vacation and left them. So, that's how I vacation. You
This
know,
is why you
instead-
should only take things that you hate on vacation.
It's like an opposite souvenir. Instead of bringing something home that I like, I bring something there that I like and leave it. So
It's beautiful.
it's an opposite souvenir.
Something
I
for
also
the
have-
place to remember you by.
I also have a small cup of one of my favorite things on planet Earth.
Ooh.
One of my favorite things on planet Earth is at Parker and Otis, which is a restaurant in Durham. They have pistachio syrup for coffees, and I always get an iced pistachio latte, and it's just like one of the most magical things. It hits my brain like chorizo does, you know, like that special spot in your brain that just like lights up for certain things.
Goes
It
straight
lights
to your
up
brain.
for this. Goes straight to my brain. So I got one this afternoon and have a little bit of leftover cup of this iced pistachio latte. Holy shit, it's so good.
You got me into iced lattes in general, and I have to say I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Yeah. So I normally take my iced lattes, which I love, just like no sweetener, but Parker and Otis has the most fun sweeteners. They have like croissant, like syrup. They have like all sorts of like crazy syrups, and I just like always have to get a pistachio one when I'm there. It's just like there's
Nice.
nothing like a nice latte, I feel.
I think that you've recommended that I try the pistachio like every time I've been down there, and I don't know that I ever have. So maybe I'll try it this year.
Yeah, we'll go. We'll get you hooked up. Do you like pistachio ice cream?
Yeah.
Like that flavor? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like that.
And I
So
like
fucking good.
pistachios also.
And you like iced lattes. So I think
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a win.
Nice. Excited.
I don't think I've had pistachio ice cream before.
It's
It's
got
good.
such a beautiful flavor.
It's nice.
What does it taste like? The ice
Gosh.
cream?
It's so hard to describe. It actually doesn't taste to me like a pistachio. It's like, you know, like almond, like that kind of like almond extract has a certain flavor, and doesn't taste like an almond.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like that flavor, except a little different. Kind of it's very it's like a cousin of that flavor. Except, like, to me, it tastes like a little sweeter and creamier, if that
We're
makes sense for
pro
like, a non-creamy
cousins.
flavor.
on the show?
Yeah. We're definitely heading over to the piano while you guys are here for pistachio lattes. It's settled.
Awesome. Speaking of when we're there, we should mention up front, and this won't come as a surprise to long-term listeners, but we're more likely than not going to be taking a week off for Thanksgiving. We're going to plan on taking a week off from the podcast for Thanksgiving. So that'll be not episode so it'll be this episode this Sunday. We'll have another episode out, episode 112 next Sunday, and then the week after that there will not be an episode. And we'll try to remember
December 1st.
Yeah, and we'll try to remember to remind you next week as well.
And you'll think to yourself, well, that doesn't make sense because they're going to be together. They're going to be seeing each other. But we say to you, we don't want to.
We never
do the
want
podcast
to.
when we're together. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I always, like, the first year we did the podcast, I was like, oh, we're probably going to have a lot of fun recording the podcast. We didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
No, we just wanted to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're too busy to, like, actually hanging out. This is like, what we get when we can't hang out.
Right. It's all about us, and it's not about you guys. It's about us.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's our prerogative. So it's our prerogative. So.
It's back.
Ben, did you get pierogies?
No, I did not. I forgot about it entirely.
Wow.
Maybe this weekend.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to talk about Brad Leone.
Yeah.
And our brother Lucas.
Brad Leone of the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen.
Brad Leone from the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. I would also probably die for him.
I wouldn't die for him. But he would die for Claire.
He would. He would die for, I think, anybody in that kitchen. Even the Golden Boy himself. Andy. Yeah. But Brad from the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen, Ben pointed out earlier this week. Do you wanna say it how you said it, Ben?
I don't remember exactly how I said it, but Brad has a very similar energy, especially in a kitchen environment, to our brother Lucas.
He's a chaotic good, I think.
He's he's a chaotic... Fuck, what did I say? I worded it so well, and now I'm mad that I can't remember.
Well, it's written down, so...
Chaotic charming, that's what I said. He has the same chaotic charming energy as Brad.
Yes, and ever since you said that, every time that I watch Brad interact with anyone, all I see is our dear brother Lucas, and it's really amazing how I never noticed it before. I didn't either. In the Mentos episode that came out this week of Gourmet Makes, when Brad shows up at the end and cannot get it through his head that this is the end and he has to stop saying that she needs to improve it. I was like, Lucas, it's Lucas. But he's so sweet and flexible about it. And he's just like,
yeah. And then when she says at the end, he's like, oh, then it's perfect.
Great.
Good job.
So nice.
Yeah.
I first noticed it in the pie episode in Making Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Because it was the juxtaposition of Claire doing everything perfectly correctly and organized with her pie, and him just sort of doing whatever he wanted. And he did that thing where he cut the edges while he was cooking the pie. And Claire's reaction when she came over was what? Why is he doing that? I was like, oh wow, this is so Lucas.
And
in a great way, in a really
absolutely.
lovely way.
This is a compliment for both of them.
Totally. Ian made me watch the part of that episode where Claire left him behind rolling out pie dough, and he with no help just rolled it into a perfect square. And he was like, I made a square. She's like, how'd you do that? He made me watch that 3 or 4 times. He thought it was so funny.
She's like, make a circle, and he's like, I made a square. Claire, I feel so bad for Claire. I feel like they give her the hardest things to do. They were make a pie with Brad, make make 4 pies with Brad in with no time, and at the end you have to catch a flight. Yeah. Transport them on the flight and submit them into a pie contest. I feel like that hits all of her stress triggers.
Yeah.
Work group project. Okay. Bad. I feel like Claire, my experience watching Claire is that she's not a fan of the group project. Her personality type is not a group project personality type. Mm-hmm. She seems like the dictator. She's mm-hmm. In the size episode with Christina, I feel like Christina was like, I just did what you told me. With a little bit of shade, I felt ooh, yeah. And then Deadline, perfectionism that can't be achieved. Like all of the stress triggers. I was like, this is terrible to watch, but also wonderful to watch.
Also, Brad, like being good with old ladies.
Oh my god,
yeah. Like, that's also a very Lucas thing.
Yes, it totally is. I thought that too.
Oh my god.
Just everybody that meets him just likes him. It's the same with Lucas.
Just that like old-fashioned unteachable charm.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Bon Appetit podcast. I'm barely joking.
I know. Erin has taken over our podcast Slack channel with talking about every Bon Appetit video that comes out, which is I'm not complaining.
I love them. Basically, like, what I've been doing with my fun employment is watching Bon Appetit videos, and they're all just... I watched one from 2 years ago where Claire makes biscuits, and she looks so young and happy. I'm like, oh no, she must have just started.
But I do feel like she's definitely getting grayer, but I think she was coloring that natural streak in her hair when she started.
Okay. Because she also is wearing a lot more makeup, I think.
Huge shock of gray hair. She's had that for like a long time. Yeah. I feel like that's definitely like Ben's mole on his head that has grown gray hair out of it forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Just blowing up your spot.
I have a big gray streak on my head because it grows out of a mole.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like a little filter. It's like, I'll take that brown color, thank you very much.
You think it's eating the pigment?
I think that's science.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
That's definitely science.
Yeah. Oh, man. Now we're having a good time. So...
What the fuck?
Because she's coughing. That's from like 3 episodes ago.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. I thought that was like your weird segue. I was like, what the fuck was that? Alright, now we're having a good time. Now that we're having a good time, let's get into it.
I have one more upfront thing. I just wanted to, again, we sort of mentioned it in the middle of an episode a week or two ago, but I want to mention Graduation, the new Adventure Zone Graduation, because the second episode came out this week, and I thought it was even better than the first one. I'm really, really enjoying it. Like, I think so far, I really like the main characters a lot. I really think there's a lot of interesting things. There's like a barely perceptible cat. Like, they're not quite invisible, but they can turn invisible. There's a lot of them, I think. I love that. I just there's some interesting little side plots. There's this amazing character who is have you listened to it yet, Ben?
Are you talking about Festo?
Yeah, Festo is my favorite new character.
Festo is incredible.
Who is like a fairy that teaches magic and sounds like Justin McElroy's imitation of Amelie.
Amelie, the French girl?
Yeah. I have to find that for you.
I really am enjoying Graduation as well.
I was thinking about watching it or listening to it because I feel like catching it early will help me because sometimes I get so I get overwhelmed by content amount.
That's an excellent point, and it's another good thing to mention, just in case anyone is wondering. Graduation has nothing to do with any of the previous episodes of Adventure Zone, so it's like its own storyline, and it's only 2 episodes in, so there's only about 3 hours worth of content at this point for Graduations. It's a really, really good time to jump in and learn about it. Erin, you should watch that real quick.
I think
watch this. Watch this. Sorry.
I think the only thing that that I haven't liked a ton about Graduation, I've really enjoyed it so far, except for one thing, which is that I think that Travis sort of made a lot of.
Hannah told me to watch it.
Ben, you should just watch it. Then.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch it. I think I've seen this before. It sounds so much like Festo.
Is this from the podcast? Is this from
My Brother and Me? Yeah.
Oh, so it's not from Graduation?
No. But But
the voice sounds like this.
Yeah.
I got you.
This is Justin doing Amelie, but Travis is the one who's leading the podcast. And, like, I just think it's clear he took... It's like a combination of Amelie and Elmo is what the... Yeah.
That's really fucking funny, and I also fucking love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Ben, I'm so sorry. What were you saying? Hannah told me to watch it. I was only following her orders, and she's the boss.
I'm the Claire.
Shit. That was fantastic.
Okay.
The one thing that has bothered me a little so far is I feel like there are way too many just Travis conversations that happen, because there are, like, so many NPCs.
Yeah.
And it's clear that Travis put, like, a lot of work into making, like, really interesting NPCs, and they are really cool and interesting, but there end up being, like, several conversations in the first episode that were, like, relatively long and just Travis talking to himself as different characters.
Yeah.
But I think that will get better probably as things go on a little bit, because we're kind of, especially the first episode was, like, obviously a lot of exposition.
Right.
So, I think that will improve as the campaign continues.
I think it already has in the second episode.
Yeah, it was better in the second episode.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It was a little much in the first episode, but then it's also like, I'm thinking to myself, like, so there's obvious allusions to Harry Potter in this whole setting, right? And open ones, like the whole running gag about reminding students that they can't just poop on the floor no matter what anybody tells them. Like, and in the beginning of Harry Potter, that's the first thing that happens. He meets, like, every important character in, like, the first, like, fucking half hour of getting there. And then he, like, goes and, like, lives his life and stuff.
Poops on the floor,
magics it away, all that stuff. So, like, I think he was trying to do that kind of thing. And it was, like, also kind of hard because their voices weren't always all that different either. So, like, I had to I ended up listening to the first episode, like, I think 3 times in total. Because I listened to it once with Ian, and then I listened to it once again before the second episode came out. And now I think I get the characters, but I definitely didn't get them the first time. But then the second episode, I didn't have that problem at all.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So, it's good.
Growing pains.
Yeah, I mean, the first chapter of Harry Potter is boring. So, just deal with it.
She said it. She fucking said it.
Honestly, the whole first book of Harry Potter is pretty boring.
I like the first book.
I like the first book. He said it. He shouldn't have said it. He said it.
I said it.
He really shouldn't have said it. He better take that fucking back.
Fight me. Make me not say it. Make me take it back. You can't.
Listen. I'm gonna put those words right back in your mouth.
Fuck. I stepped in it now.
That's right.
You did.
Yeah.
All right. Any other upfronts?
Fuck no.
Erin? No.
Okay. Should we pop in?
Say fuck no. Say fuck no.
Fuck no.
Hell yeah.
Ben's the boss.
Okay. The first. I thought I was the boss.
It's
whoever she listened to last.
It changes. It's transient. It's a situational situation.
Okay. Situational boss.
Listen, my obsession, y'all.
Yeah.
It's related to what we were just talking about. It's actually different than the one that I said I was going to do when we were talking right before we started recording.
Oh, so I didn't help
because I remembered the thing that I had wanted to talk about on Wednesday when we were going to record and then forgot about by today. It's a podcast. It's a McElroy podcast.
Oh.
It's maybe my favorite thing they've ever done.
Wow.
It's only 8 episodes long.
Mm.
Hannah already knows what it is now, I think.
I probably do.
It comes out very sporadically starting in May of 2017. And the podcast is called... Well, it's actually changed names.
Yeah, I know.
It started as being called The McElroy Brothers Will Be in Trolls 2. That was the name of the podcast. And I will just tell you the story of how it started. They had done a live show in Portland, like I said, in like 2017. And weed is legal in Portland, so they got some edibles and then got high in their hotel room on edibles. And at some point, while they were high, they all decided that they were going to be in the movie Trolls 2. Not that they were going to try to be in it, that they were going to be in it. And
fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
bake it till you make it.
so the first episode, at least like part of it, is like a recording of them in the hotel room talking about it. And it's just so fucking good. Like they do this thing where they go through a list of people in Trolls 2.
Or they high at this time.
Yeah, when they recorded the first one. Yeah.
Love it.
And here's the video. We don't have to watch it now, but this is a video of it for reference. Which is just great. And Justin goes through a list of the people in Trolls 2 and has Travis and Griffin say the percentage chance they think that they'll appear on their podcast. The McElroy brothers will be in Trolls 2. And it's all like 0%. It's like Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick and James Corden. And then also like the formatting of it is like Justin, who edited all of it, will like every now and again interject like in a very serious tone as if it's like it's like a serial style podcast, like a journalistic podcast. And he'll like say things like even in the first episode, be like, by now you know that we are in Trolls 2, but this is how it all began. And the best part is they're gonna be in fucking Trolls 2.
It worked.
Are they really?
Yes.
Yes, it worked.
Oh my God.
So like it's so I kind of wish I had been listening to it when it came out, but it's really fun to listen to it now and hear Justin be like, by now you already know the whole story of how we got into Trolls 2, and like I literally do because I read an article about it before I started listening.
Oh my God.
Like it's just, and it's so they like one of the episodes is like a phone call with their agent trying to get him to get them into Trolls 2. And it's so funny because like it's just reasonable enough of a request for their agent that like he actually like has to work on trying to make it happen.
Right, because they're not like insisting like, on like a main role, you know? They're just
they want like just to speak in it at some point. And then they're like some twists and turns. They interview Janet Varney, who voiced Korra in The Legend of Korra, among other things. And she like does not believe that they're going to be able to do it, which is hilarious. They also interviewed Adam Reed, who created Archer, about getting into like animated stuff. But it's all like, you know, it's all McElroy's. It's all like joking around and just it basically only came out when there were like updates of any sort.
Wasn't there like a snafu with they went to like a meeting?
Yeah, they had a meeting with DreamWorks about, they called it like a general meeting or something, and they like went to LA for it, and Travis was an hour late and showed up. Apparently, he has a T-shirt that he wears to like any kind of important meeting under his other clothes. That it's a quote from Blazing Saddles that has the word piss in it, like piss in something or other. But I don't remember the whole quote, but it's like piss on it, I'm working for Mel Brooks or something like that. Anyway, the way apparently the way his jacket was buttoned, you could just see the word piss coming out.
Oh my God.
So he showed up an hour late to this meeting with a shirt on that just said piss on it.
Oh my God.
And it was like, he was 45 minutes late and it was like an hour long meeting.
Oh my God.
Oh God. But then that's chapter 5 of the podcast.
Why was he late? Like, what happened?
Traffic.
Okay.
LA traffic.
Yeah.
My favorite part about can I go back to the first episode while you're just...
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite part about the first episode, besides the fact that they're totally blazed, is that anytime that anyone uses the word if in reference to like like being in Trolls 2, Justin will like correct them and be like, when we are in Trolls 2.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
It's also a great bit about Justin Timberlake being in the podcast, where Griffin is like, no, we have to say 0% because if we fuck up this called shot, we ruin the whole premise of the podcast, which is that we're in the movie, we're gonna be in it. And then he's like, at this point, like, if Justin Timberlake asks to be on the podcast, we're not gonna let him because we have to say it's 0%. And then chapter 6, I think, is when they get the call that from their agent that they have been cast in Trolls 2. And then their mission becomes, and then they also interviewed one of the people who wrote Trolls 2 because they have the same agent as her.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But then their mission becomes to not get cut from Trolls 2. Because now they've been recorded, they've done the recording sessions, and so they want like this podcast and just them in general being in Trolls 2 to become so well known that they're going to be in it that DreamWorks couldn't justify cutting them. And the way they were going to do that was they set a new, I guess not goal, because it was another thing that they said was going to happen, which is the McElroy brothers will be on the Tonight Show on October 16th, because that was like a day they had off between tour dates in Philly and New York. That unfortunately did not happen, although there was like they talked to Jimmy Fallon on Twitter about it, but it didn't actually happen, which is unfortunate because they missed that one. But they're going to be in Trolls 2. By the way, it's called the McElroy Brothers will be in Trolls World Tour now because that's the name of Trolls 2 is Trolls World Tour.
They were like required by their contract to change the name.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because they wanted it to be advertised by its actual name.
Love it.
Yeah, it's just delightful, and it's so silly, and like, I just loved everything about it. Every episode's like maybe half an hour at most.
Yeah, they're not long.
So like it's super quick and just hilarious, and like they don't have any sponsors or anything. This is just a fun thing that they decided they were going to be in this fucking movie, and then they did it.
Yeah.
I feel like this really speaks to the power of drugs.
Yeah.
And
moral of the story: take edibles, kids.
Take drugs.
Take drugs and record yourself.
Do the drugs.
do them. Just do them.
Just say yes.
Dare to take drugs.
I love their avant-garde shit is like my favorite. Like the whole Till Death Do Us Blart thing where they're gonna watch Paul Blart Mall Cop.
I haven't listened to that, but I will now because I fucking love this so much.
Yeah, and then there's another, there was an episode of My Brother and Me where they had the opportunity to interview celebrities on the red carpet at the or the blue carpet or whatever, because it was a theatrical opening of Escape from or to Margaritaville. I don't remember which is right. And like they were just completely panicked the entire time, and they're by no means like, they sometimes have guests on the podcast, but they've never done like a live like interview with like very important people on like a red carpet setting before. Like so they were just panicking the whole time. There's like this amazing running theme that is completely genuine of Justin McElroy just thinking that every man walking the red carpet is an actor named Matt Doyle. He's like constantly like, Matt Doyle? Is that Matt Doyle? Matt Doyle? And like Matt Doyle wasn't even on the red carpet.
I didn't know that's where that started, because I knew that I had heard that bit before, but not where its origins.
Yeah, it was very funny because it's like if you listen to the whole thing, which I obviously did, you heard it developing. It was like over time, like it was like I started to notice it, and then the brothers started being like, "No, stop asking about Matt Doyle." And then afterwards, they did like a post, like after the show was over and everything, and they went into a recording studio and talked about the experience with each other, and they like talked about it there too, and it was hilarious. I'm sure I can find a clip, an edit of that as well for us.
Is that Matt Doyle?
Is that Matt Doyle? Like, just in the most panicked voice. Like, oh, it's so funny.
I just love those boys.
Yeah.
Those boys from Huntington.
Boys, don't ever let me down. Please.
I feel like they're just like, they're artists to me. You know, they're just creating the world that they want to see.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing. I feel like, I mean, they're the reason that this podcast exists.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that it's like permission just to make a podcast just because, you know, we think it's fun and funny.
Yes, exactly. Oh, Ben's watching.
And just us.
Ben's
Are you watching it, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the only actor Justin knows?
He had a list. He had a list with faces on it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
Okay, there's gonna be so much editing out us just sitting here and laughing in this episode. Okay. Should we pop into me
Enjoy
now?
that. Look forward to it. Let's pop into you.
Please do.
Thank God, I have to know about this jiggle.
Okay. I actually think right now any jiggle that you're seeing is probably just the desk moving. But the reason that the mic was moving more vigorously before was because Ian was out in the living room running in place because and it shook the floor enough, like just enough that it was shaking it's a small house. Because today we went ahead and picked up the Nintendo Ring Fit adventure.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, what is this?
Okay, I'm gonna find a video for it but here's what I'm gonna say. Don't watch this video because I'm gonna explain it to you and it's
Okay, so you're gonna find a video for us not to watch. Got it.
Okay.
You're gonna stop. You're gonna halt podcast execution to find a video that we're not allowed to watch.
All right, I'm just
10-4.
gonna Okay, I'm just gonna send you a picture of what one of the pieces looks like then, you big jerks. So basically, what the Ring Fit is like, it's a game that you can get for the Switch, and it also comes with these extra pieces. There's the one that you see on your screen now, which is this ring with all these like sensors in it that you attach one of the, I always call them Wiimotes, controllers to, and then Joy-Cons, thank you.
The Switch controller.
Yes. And then the other controller, the other Joy-Con slots into a little, I forget what they call it, but you basically like wrap it around your thigh. It kind of looks like the things people put
thigh wrap.
Yeah. It kind of looks like the things people put
Why did that tickle me?
I think it was the confidence.
I think the assertion, like, thigh wrap is a thing. Okay, continue. I've composed myself.
But it's basically there to just monitor like your leg movement, essentially. It's what it does.
Okay.
So when the Joy-Con is in place in both of these spots, it can kind of tell your movement. You can you actually control like the menu screens by like turning the wheel or like flipping it up or down to move the selection, like rotating the wheel. But what it is it's basically like one of those fitness games that like gamifies the whole, like gamifies exercise. And we've only had it for one day, and I've tried these things before and not had success in continuing with them. But what I think is interesting about this one, and the reason we picked it up, I've seen some really, really good reviews about it, is because I think it does, because of the adventure part of it, I think it does a really good job of like engaging you by being a lot more interesting and more like actually kind of story driven than these things typically are. So, and I also think it's sort of charmingly like apparent about it. Like the thing I think is funny about it is that it's not trying to trick you into thinking that you're not exercising. It's literally having you run in place. It's like, the wheel or the ring can tell how much pressure you're putting on it. You can push in or pull out for different exercises.
Oh.
And it can like feel, feel is not the right word, but it can tell like how much pressure you're putting on it.
It has feelings.
And it
Ow, Hannah. Squeezy.
Squeezy. It calibrates.
Hannah, stop.
You're
hurting me.
It calibrates to your strength level.
Oh, it's kinky.
Nintendo.
Sorry,
King.
Hannah, we're writing fan fiction. What are you doing? What are you talking about?
Just trying to explain my obsession.
Okay, sorry. Go for it.
It calibrates the ring to your strength level, and also like how you run. Like it calibrates the things like before you start, and then it knows like, okay, if it's Hannah, then this is like the max that she can do. So it like calibrates all the sort of things to that to not make it like impossible to achieve. So basically how you play is, so first of all, when you first start, the first thing that happens is like this 5-minute like animation where it reminded me of it kind of reminded me of Zelda, actually. Like you pop up in this like green world, and you are like you can customize your character a little bit, but you're basically like, you're in like athletics gear and sneakers and stuff, and you're like, I guess, walking through the forest, and you're like a tall, cut human person, so there's not a lot of customization allowed. But you just like come across this ring in the woods, and then it's asking you, it's talking to you. There's literally voice actors in this game. It's talking to you and asking you to help it. And so you have to like pull the ring apart to try to free it, because there's like these like straps locking it in. But then it turns out that there was actually a bad guy being held in the ring. So then the bad guy gets away, and then you have to like team up, like calibrate together with the good ring like character who is like a genie kind of, to like.
We learned this in Harry Potter, not to trust things with a mind of its own.
Yes, exactly. It's never good. It's like an important inciting event in Korra, for instance, Legend of Korra. So that's for my Korra heads out there, Ben. Ben's one of them.
What's up?
He was doing a silent hand gesture in response to that. That's why the dead air.
Oh, I didn't.
He was like, because I was being a cool Korra head.
Yeah.
So, so then you and your friend Ring are chasing after the bad guy whose name I don't remember, and you.
Barty.
So you run in place to move forward. You don't have to like steer where your character is going, but you can aim, so you can fire like bursts of air that can like break things or open doors or stuff with the ring, and you can aim it. So you can like, you're running in place and you can like turn or pivot like different ways and shoot at things. And when you come up across an enemy, and this is my favorite part, rather than battling them, you have like a fitness battle.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So you cannot progress until you do like as many reps as it takes to like eliminate your competition.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. It's really funny. You can like pick from a menu of exercises, so you can like sort of shoot like there's some of them where you actually like sit down on the floor, like you can do leg lifts and stuff. So I didn't want to do those at first. So I did like an overhead, like squeezy thing. And like, it is like, we only had it for a couple hours. So I only did like 5 minutes so far, but I was like sweating. Like it is actually a pretty good workout. And it is cool. Like, you do feel like it's really, it motivates you at least to get to the end of whatever level you're on. And like, I only got through 3 of the 4 like sub levels in the area that I'm in. And I'm actually like, kind of wanting to go back and do more of it. So that's so far in this very short time span that I've actually had it, I have found it motivating. You can't just give up in the middle of it, because you're right in the middle of a level. Like you have to get to the end of it. You have to do your victory pose, which is another thing that has you do. Like, so I don't know. It's cool. So far, I like it.
I like that idea a lot.
It's like what Wii Fit wanted to be, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your cue?
Would you consider bringing that and the Oculus Quest to Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
For us to play at at the house?
I'll bring them both, yeah.
Cool. Because I've been wanting to, when you were talking about it, it was reminding me of the Beats thing that I really wanted to try, and I want to try that too. And I think
Beat
that would
Saber?
be fun.
I think that would be very fun. I think Mom's bringing hers as well. So
fun!
We'll have all kinds of...
We can have one at each house.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Wow. We don't have to move it around.
Because our Thanksgiving is so intense that we need 2 houses.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is small this year, and we still need 2 houses.
We do. Thanksgiving dinner itself is not quite as small, but I think our crew is a little smaller. So.
It's really hard for
Dope. That sounds fun.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun so far. You know, the animation style is like, it's not always my favorite. It's like very cutesy. But I feel like with this theme and the way that it's like, it's not trying to, I don't know. It's not trying to be anything more than what it is, sort of. It's kind of, I don't know. I kind of like it. And the animation's well done. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. Do you think do you anticipate other games will come out using this ring?
I don't know. I think it's probably more likely they'd release like expansions for this.
Oh, okay. Like Mario Kart or something. I don't know, because it's kind of steering wheel-like or something to utilize the thigh wrap.
Maybe.
Nice.
Could be. So. It's a good point.
I don't know. I was just wondering.
I hop in with an upfront thing I should have said?
Mm-hmm. No. The time has
passed. That you've reminded me of now.
The ship has sailed.
Well, too bad I'm doing it.
No. You
bring up the Switch reminded me that loyal listeners will remember that I've brought Pokemon as an obsession multiple times on this show, different Pokemon games and Pokemon related things. And some may also know that a brand new Pokemon came out today, Friday, November 15th. Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is the first new generation main series game on the Nintendo Switch. And maybe wondering why it's not an obsession for me this week.
Oh, I know.
Me too.
Why?
Because Kylie has your Switch.
Kylie has the Switch, so I will
How much are you suffering?
I have to finish revising my thesis within the next week anyway, so I don't have... Well, but I don't have a ton of time to play it. Wouldn't have a ton of time to play it anyway. And it's just like another thing to look forward to for Thanksgiving, so it's like whatever.
So
also,
nice.
I'm leaving California in less than a month. Isn't that crazy?
Yay.
That's so great.
Yeah,
Purgatory will be over. When do you arrive in North Carolina, by the by?
Every week.
Oh my god, every week.
What?
Every week with the Thanksgiving logistics to do.
For me?
Yes.
Yes, every week you ask us when we're arriving.
Well, Hannah's arriving Sunday. You're arriving Tuesday. Is that right?
Yeah. And Kylie's arriving Wednesday.
See, I know.
Okay.
Fucking incredible.
You have 6 days and 22 and a half other hours that you can ask us about Thanksgiving logistics.
I have you here right now. I'm just trying to organize my fucking life. Excuse me. I'm excited, okay?
Well, that's it. That's
when are you leaving?
I posted up.
Fine. You know what? Come whenever you want. I don't care. Don't let me know about it.
That's why we're taking.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I put some pictures and the video that you can now watch at your leisure in the Slack channel.
You're now free to move about the cabin and watch the video.
Yeah. But that red-haired girl, that's basically like the body shape is non-negotiable, but you can customize the skin color and the eye color. And that's your ring genie friend that you travel around with.
That is a very fit person.
Yes. So, yeah. That's it.
Cool. That seems
Great.
neat.
Yeah. Erin, what's your obsession?
Hello.
My
obsession, my real obsession is continues to be Bon Appetit. I mean, Come on.
It's never stopped since it was your obsession on the pod.
It really hasn't. That's been a constant in my life. I have an obsession and I have an honorable mention. I'll do my honorable mention first.
Okay.
I had the musician Dessa as an obsession of mine. When? A while ago. What episode? I'm just going to look that up.
Well,
Real
I'm going to
quick.
guess 72.
Okay, let's check it out.
Ooh.
Alphabetical order. Dessa.
He was earlier than that. Actually, I think it was earlier.
I think it was too.
Oh my god, Ben, it was 27.
Oh.
Whoa.
Opposite.
That's weird.
That's really cool.
And the Vocables episode.
Vocables.
Way earlier than I thought.
Yeah, but,
Opposite.
inverse of what you said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she just came out with a live album with her and the Minnesota Orchestra, and it's really great.
I
It's
thought you were going to say the Minnesota Ogres.
ogres. And then she kind of raps over that.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Orchestra. The Minnesota Orcas. So.
Try.
Anyway, it's called Sound the Bells, recorded live at Orchestra Hall. It's very good. Check it out. I particularly recommend track number 11, The Beekeeper. It's so dope. Check that
Is it
out.
about Molly?
Huh?
Is it about Molly?
It's one of those songs that you're like, oh, this is about bees, but it's also about something else, you know?
Oh, like what?
One of those. Well, I don't know, actually. One of those, like, metaphorical situations.
This is about bees.
You know when things are about something, but they're really about something else. One of those.
I don't know.
Well, my
what
This
you
real
only came out a week ago.
Okay, sorry.
My real obsession that I'd like to bring is actually one that Molly brought to my attention again. This is 2 weeks in a row.
And Molly also,
It's
we should give a shout out to Molly because she's the reason you're here tonight.
Yeah. Earlier tonight, I was like, do you want to go see a movie? So fun. Like, go out to a movie. And she was like, you have podcasts tonight. So, thanks, Molly, for keeping me on schedule. I remembered the last 2 nights. Anyway. It's a podcast, and it's called Dolly Parton's America. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Barely.
It's from WNYC Studios. It's Jad Abumrad. Is that how you say his name?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Basically, it's all about Dolly Parton. So it's kind of funny. His dad is a doctor, and Dolly Parton, like a couple years ago, like got in a car accident, and her friend like got in a car accident, and her Jad Abumrad's dad actually ended up treating Dolly Parton, and they became friends. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so Jad had the opportunity to interview her, and he basically thought it was going to be like, an episode, but it turned out like there was so much stuff there because Dolly Parton's like this amazing person with this like incredible history, that it's its own podcast, and it's a 9-episode podcast, and I think 5 of the episodes are out, and they're all really super duper interesting. Yeah, so it's basically just like him. I wouldn't even say it's him interviewing Dolly Parton. It's like Dolly Parton talking to him. Like, it's basically he'll ask one question, and then Dolly will just take it away, like wherever she wants to go. And she always says, you ask me a question, I'll tell you what I want you to hear. She's just incredible. I didn't really know much about Dolly Parton. She's kind of one of those people that like everybody just like nobody dislikes Dolly Parton. I feel like even if you are not a super huge like necessarily fan of her music, I mean she's just like America's sweetheart in the truest sense. And it's been really interesting. That kind of music that she writes and sings is not necessarily music that I have historically listened to. Although I think some of her earlier stuff would actually be really like a lot of her early songs are like super duper sad kind of ballady songs, which I'm like, hello, that's kind of my cup of tea. So I want to dig into those. But she's basically like, I didn't realize that how prolific of a songwriter she was. Like I obviously knew she was a great songwriter, but I mean, people have compared her like in her just like with how prolific she is and how, she's written thousands and thousands of songs and she's basically like, you know, people compare her to like Mozart. Like if she had been born in that time like that, she's on like that level of, just like
musical
skill.
Genius.
Yeah, a musical genius. And, she's just really interesting, has such an interesting outlook. And, this podcast is really sweet and super good. It has a little bit of that like Radio Lab editing that sometimes I find like just a little over the top. It has just a little bit of that. Which I'm, you know, just like moments where I'm just kind of like, okay, you know. But otherwise, I think it's really, really nice and sweet. And then, you know, Jad interviews his dad in one episode, and he's just talking. And then, like, he and Dolly kind of like talk about their friendship, and I'm just like, this is so fun and random. And so it's basically about like, I think the quest of this podcast is like, why does America love Dolly Parton so much? Why do people who have like, opposing views on everything, why can they come together in a space and listen and share a Dolly Parton experience together? Why, you know, is she able
really is
to,
like the universal, like, uniter kind of.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
everyone in America.
Yeah.
At least has one Dolly Parton song, whether it's sung by her or written by her.
Right, exactly.
That they love.
Right. Oh, and it goes into some really interesting history about some of her most famous songs. It's just really, it's a really cool podcast. Thanks, Molly, for bringing it to my attention and
thanks, Dolly.
Recommending it. Thanks, Dolly. I mean, she's just like, she's a national treasure. I mean, not even a national treasure. I mean, like all over the world. She's just a treasure.
She's an international treasure.
Take that, Nicolas Cage.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's great. It's a great, I don't know when they come out, but there's only 5, so there's 4 more to look forward to.
The last one came out 3 days ago, so it comes out on Tuesdays?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's great. I need something on Tuesdays. That's one of the reasons Tuesdays suck, is because there's not a lot of podcasts that come out on Tuesdays. So thanks, Chad.
Well, you have 5 to binge and then 4 weeks of pleasurable Tuesdays ahead of you.
Gross.
Why is that gross? Why would that be gross?
Pleasurable Tuesdays.
I would embrace a pleasurable Tuesday.
Passionately.
Yeah.
You know, the most exposure I've probably ever had to Dolly Parton was in Dumplin'. She wasn't in that movie, but she was like heavily featured.
Yeah.
Like I learned a lot about her from that movie.
Yeah, it's great, nice, really interesting. You know, only a little bit of over the top editing, but you know, what are you gonna? I mean,
sounds cool as fuck.
Dealing with Jad, so what do you expect?
Exactly. Can I ask? So, Dolly Parton, you said it's like basically was formed out of one like apparently long interview that Jad got to do with her.
I can't remember the origin. Actually, I think he sat down with her like 4 or 5 times, so it wasn't like one incident. I don't remember why he sat down with her in the first place. Molly is probably listening to this and being like, "Oh,"
but that's okay. We began
with a simple question: how did the queen of the boob joke become a feminist icon? That's, I think, maybe the
queen of the boob joke?
Because she
has big boobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, that's like most people who interview her or like cover her talk about that pretty exclusively. So it's basically like, you know, yeah, I know.
That's baffling.
They cover that a lot. They get into that, and that's really interesting. Her attitude about it's really interesting. They get into the feminist angle, and that's super interesting. I mean, there's a lot here. And it's all really cool. So
I guess my question is, does it feel to you like an interview podcast, or does it feel like?
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's like, I honestly, like, Jad can't get questions in because he'll like ask her a question and then she'll just like tell him story after story after story after story.
Okay.
And then, so it's like not an interview. It's like there are clips of interviews, but then it's a lot of exposition about it and like background and history. You know, so it's, I would not even remotely consider an interview podcast. I would call it like a regular podcast with clips of what you might be able to call an interview. Like,
but Penn, that's so interesting that you're surprised about the boob joke thing, because I feel like there's been kind of a renaissance in recent years of people kind of like making a point to recognize that Dolly Parton is like, you know, an amazing and genius level songwriter in person and like really interesting and stuff. But before that, I feel like most of the culture only knew her as a reference to big boobs.
yeah,
It was like what you would say if you were trying to be like, that person has big boobs, you'd be like, they look like Dolly Parton. Like, it was like that level.
You know, I kind of remember that when I was like a kid. I feel like that's how I ever first heard of her.
yeah.
But I just feel like I hadn't in a while, I guess. Maybe that resurgence of Dolly Parton appreciation had like washed over my little media bubble, I guess.
Well, that's fascinating.
sorry.
I'm really excited to learn more. No, go ahead, Erin.
Well, I think to what Ben was saying, I relate to because that is definitely my impression of Dolly Parton, or my like main thing. And actually, like throughout this podcast, they cover that in the first episode, and then not really again. And then there was like one mention of it in the most recent episode, and I was like, oh yeah, the big boobs thing. Like I had like even in the span of this podcast, like forgotten that was the thing, because I had totally like reshaped my thoughts about her away from that. So, you know, and just her attitude about it, she kind of embraces that, you know, like she's not exasperated by it. She doesn't seem to have bitterness about it. She uses that for her own power, which is really interesting. And the podcast kind of covers that. You kind of see a way where she wants to get power back in a room, and so she'll make a boob joke like several times. She doesn't let that be something to control her. She uses it to control situations, which I think is very interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
What?
Look at me. I'm the captain now. That's what basically she's doing.
Don't look at my boobs, look at me.
Yeah. Eyes down here. All right.
That's awesome. I want to listen to this.
Yeah, great podcast. Check it out. All credit is to Molly.
She sounds like someone who maybe she doesn't need it now, but if this podcast didn't, Molly Parton, she sounds like someone that if this podcast didn't exist might deserve her own episode of You're Wrong About.
Yeah,
probably still does.
Probably might still deserve one, because I love them and their research. And
yeah,
did you see their new merch they just came out with?
No.
It's very good, you guys. I wonder if it's still around.
Shout out to You're Wrong About. Always. I mean, they're currently in the middle of a series about O.J. Simpson, and it's so good.
Yeah,
and they're
great.
just so dreamy. Their chemistry together is just
So
beautiful,
dreamy.
And it's great.
They're so thoughtful with everything they do. Right before we started recording, I texted Kylie in a panic and said, "What should my obsession be?" Because I had forgotten. And she didn't answer for an hour and a half until now, and all she said was me.
Wow. Beautiful. So yes, the shirts are very good. I love, my favorite is there's
Maligned women of your
yes, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. And it's this like beautifully hand-drawn, it looks, I think all of their stuff is all of their like pictures are sort of trying to look like needlepoint a little bit. That's what I would say. So it's like a graph thing, mistreated by politics, mistreated by media, mistreated by capitalism, or mistreated by religion. And I love it. I want this. I want this so much. So I'm just trying to decide what to buy and what to put it on, because there's so many options.
Yeah, this is good shit.
It's great. It's honestly the best podcast merch I've ever seen. I love them. And I feel like they're kind of starting to get more attention, more listeners and stuff. And I feel like it's so incredibly deserved.
Yeah, they are amazing. Their work is so good. And God, it's entertaining as fuck. The content is important and it couldn't be more enjoyable to consume.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff with the O.J. Simpson trial is really hard. It's really hard to listen to.
It really is.
It's really hard to internalize. I'm having to usually I gobble these podcasts up as soon as they come out. I'm having to really kind of microdose it. Because it's just really fucking depressing and terrible. But
yeah, because by the end of the first episode, it's such a mental leap to remember that he did not get convicted for this murder.
Right. I know.
Right.
I have to keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did it and you're it's so fucking obvious.
It's so obvious.
It could not be more obvious.
A toddler would be able to be I think that this person did this crime, without knowing,
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
I also think You're Wrong About is a really good, example of, active listening, I guess. Especially Michael on episodes where Sarah's, telling, a story. He's, always providing affirmation that he's listening, and the questions he asks are always very interesting and often are an angle that she hadn't thought about with something, and it's just that's just how you listen to a friend tell a story,
Yeah.
You don't just tune out if it I don't know. It's just great. And it's the same. And Sarah does the same thing with Michael also.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, and I love how she'll say something and she'll be what do you think about that?
Yeah.
I feel they're just beautiful soulmates who are just have come together and we're all benefiting from that beautiful shine.
I love it.
That's the quintessential the sum of the parts are greater than the whole. The whole is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
So you're saying that they suck individually, but when they come together, it's magical.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you're right.
You're wrong about it.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Nice.
If I actually do Twitter this week, which has been spotty.
Why did you go home and if I did Twitter this week?
I was trying to start a sentence and I got sidetracked.
By a different sentence.
Yeah. If I do Twitter this week, I'm gonna give a little plug to their merch shop, because obviously they need that from us. But people should buy their merch and listen to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dopey dope. Let's do the thing we do when we're trying to go to bed.
Homework is the thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, what's your homework?
My homework is listen to the McElroy brothers will be in Trolls World Tour. And then also, I guess, see Trolls World Tour when it comes out, I think in next April. Because they're in it.
What are the names?
They won't get cut.
What are the names of their characters?
Techno Beat Drop Button, Hard Rock Tier, and Country Music Tier.
You know how it is.
Don't know why they're tiers, but that's that.
Yes, very good.
And also my Twitter is Nicely Proved Ben.
Very nice.
Lee Proved.
Ben.
Perfect.
It's really hard to spell that burp at the end, but you'll probably figure it out.
My homework is check out the what the hell is it called? Nintendo Ring Fit Adventure. Look at the video for it and see if it looks interesting to you, and maybe get it.
You're allowed to watch the video now.
You're allowed to watch the video now that I've done talking about it. My Twitter is Anthropology. And that's also my Instagram. And I have another podcast called So Dreamy. We have our brand new logo. It's beautiful. And
It is.
And yeah, go to our Twitter and look at it, and then listen to the show. It's at So Dreamy Snack. And that's it.
My homework is to enjoy all the Bon Appetit videos. They're so good. All of them are so good. All of them are so good. All of them are. All of them. All of them. All of them are so good. All of them.
Yeah.
Also check out Dessa's album live, Sound the Bells, recorded live at Orchestra Hall with the Minnesota Orchestra. Also, listen to Dolly Parton's America. You won't regret it.
No regrets.
No regrets.
That's it.
Okay. If you want to call us and tell us what your favorite podcast is.
If you want to.
Besides ours, because we know we're your first favorite. But what's your second favorite?
What's your second favorite?
You can call us at 774-326-0420.
Blaze it.
But don't dial
Blaze it.
Don't dial Blaze it.
Mom.
Mom.
Oh, I forgot we got another email.
We did?
It's from YouTube creators.
Too late for that.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, we have an Instagram at WayTooBroad. We have a Twitter at TooBroadPod. We have an email address as just demonstrated just then, WayTooBroad@gmail.com. Please email us because it's mostly YouTube that emails us, and they want me to tell them whether our content is for children, and I don't. It's not. So. We also have a website. You can find all the things we talk about. WayTooBroad.com for anything you want. EarnBen.com for anything you need. And if you enjoyed your episode of this podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And we'll love you forever.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's probably true. That's it. Thanks for listening. And the podcast candle is now extinguished.
Well, that's great news. That's safety.
Yeah, it's good for the
Bye.
environment. Bye.